Welcome to Decades, hosted by Chris Rubio. Decades is a show made up of 5 generations of people brought together to discuss topics you wouldn't normally talk about with others. The goal of the show is to learn by having some good, possibly heated discussions, without losing the simple fact that it's okay to talk to different people with different opinions other than your own.
What's up? My name is Chris Rubio, host of Decades. We've got a fantastic show. We've got Sub-60 Ed, who we were just talking about his baby photos. Maybe we can get one, because we were just saying how
we're not getting baby photos.
Large head as it is.
Yes.
And for his body, obviously, since he's a sub-60, it's got to be a third of his size right now, even though he says he's 4'6" or whatever he is, which crazy man obviously is nodding, saying, no, he's not. So as a baby, babies' heads are normally large just in comparison to their body. So what I needed to know, and what people want to know, sub-60, was your head was it way, way big?
Yes, my head was big.
Okay, next obvious question. Your mom had cesarean?
No.
Oh my God.
I've told you that we've had, for the people watching out there. If I see where my hands right by my ears, see right here? That's where the forceps marks are from where they had to pull me out.
Was it the jaws of life?
Kind of. You could kind of call it the jaws of life.
Speaking of jaws of life, we've got a former firefighter. I can say former firefighter right now, Crosby.
100% retired, baby.
Retired, former California firefighter. He does, what do you do? Gun training, shooting training as well. Now he's basically in the Houston, Texas area. Give it up for Terry Crosby. He's going to represent you're in the 50s, right, Terry?
Yeah, I'll be 57 in about a month.
Oh, wow, okay.
We've also got Crazy Man out in the Virginia area. Crazy Man?
Yep.
And then we've got Alex on tech, otherwise known as Gru, representing our 40s, 50s, and is going to be in Los Angeles area. Welcome to everyone. We were supposed to have Craig Hannum on, but unfortunately, Craig is dealing with a Lewiston resident. That's where I live. A teenager decided to take his own life. What? Oh, Craig Hannum. Speak of the devil, Jesus. I was literally just talking about you.
Welcome, what's up, guys?
What's going on with your fresh haircut? What?
Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you perfectly.
Right.
I was literally just introducing you, saying how you weren't going to be here, but
back to the community. The
look at this.
The volleyball game tonight.
Nice.
There you go.
So Chris Rubio, they know you're a celebrity, man. So
more infamous than famous.
Go Bengals, baby. Go Bengals.
All right, you have fun, Hannah. I'll finish talking about you. You have a good day out there.
All right, later, guys. I got to go.
Hey. So Hannah is out there doing volleyball right now because a member of the football team just graduated, decided to take his own life. Obviously not a very good situation. Just a quick reminder, if you ever need someone to talk to, you can talk to anyone on this panel at any point in your time. Doesn't matter what time of the day, we're always open. You can always email decadesshow24@gmail.com. And I'm assuming Sub-60 can get our emails scrolling across here as well. If everyone just puts it in the private chat at some point tonight, feel free to contact us at any time, all of us, anyone you want. If you want to speak to Gru, we'll give you Gru's number. If you want to speak to Crazy Man, Crosby, we got Scarano on as well. Definitely give us a call. It's one of those things. I was talking to Hannah this morning. You're not only taking your own life, you're taking the life of everyone else around you, because you have no idea how that's going to affect every single person around you. And it's not just the people. I think one of the saddest photos I ever saw was after Jim Gingrich, one of the original members of Decades, decided to take his own life when his wife Cindy posted a photo of the dog walking around with a shirt of Jim's and just didn't know what the hell was going on. You can't explain to the dog, oh, by the way, Jim decided to take his own life. So let's move on. And so it's just really, really sad. And we're here for you guys. And yeah, that's all. I wanted to cover that real quick. Now let's move on. Not that I want to move on quickly, but I kind of want to move on. Sub-60 Ed, I want you to pull up that photo that I had you take or upload for us. So for those listening on iTunes or Spotify, you have a very tatted man with I think those are tatted eyebrows as well. I'm not sure what's going on here, but I mean his face, head, everything's tatted. He's got just not a friendly guy you'd want to see walking down the street or in an alleyway or anywhere.
He's a pro wrestler.
He looks like a pro wrestler. All right, now you can take that picture off. An Indiana judge has ruled that person is in prison right now. The prison must provide a taxpayer-funded transgender surgery to this male inmate who was convicted of murdering a baby because denying him the procedure could cause him, quote, serious bodily and psychological harm. So an Indiana prison ruled that a taxpayer-funded transgender surgery they have to do it because this guy has serious bodily and psychological harm. He's convicted for murdering a baby. Yes, sub 60.
Is he in the Gen Pop? Is he in the general population?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
If he is, he's going to get it anyways. He's going to get it anyways, one way or another.
If he's in the general population, he's not going to make it to the surgery because they're going to take care of it.
Like this, and everyone's saying, "Oh, this is just a one-off case." I have friends that are in the Los Angeles department. I won't get too specific, and they say this happens all the time. It happens all the time. So,
what the babies or the
crazy man? You're first. Go. What's your thoughts on this?
I think as taxpayers, the individuals, male or female, should do their time. As taxpayers, we should not have to pay for surgeries to do for them. No, not at all.
Yeah, Crosby, thoughts?
So I worked at a prison for 3 years. I was a guard in California for 3 years, and you would be surprised at the rights the inmates have. And I mean, a lot of times people say, "Oh, he just wants to be a female so he can be at the female prison." And like Sub 60 said, regardless of when or where, when he's going to get got. He, it, they, whatever pronoun he chooses, it's going to get got.
So you're saying basically prison justice will handle it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Scarano?
I would say that if you're convicted of murder, that you should have no rights to something like that. And if you committed the murder as a man, then you're going to prison as a man. It doesn't make any sense to me at all, but what do I know?
I agree with you on that. Gru?
I think it doesn't matter what kind of crime he committed. He should not be having his surgery on taxpayers' dime.
Agree. Yeah.
I would agree on that. I just don't understand how this one even gets past step one. Like, who is there anyone out there? If anyone's commenting on Facebook or LinkedIn or knows of someone that thinks, yeah, this is a great idea, I'd love to hear from them. I'm pretty sure the panel would love to hear from them. Scarano, go ahead.
So, like in the regular world, I don't know why would I even say that, but like, say for me, say I wanted some sort of elective procedure. There's a very good chance my insurance company is not going to pay for that elective procedure because it's called elective. It's not a life or death situation. Maybe it could be Botox, could be a nose job, whatever it might be. All right. So why in this situation government such a procedure? Am I that ignorant and stupid? Like, I don't get it. I don't know.
He's saying that it's causing him psychological harm because he cannot be who he wants to be. So it's hurting his mind and it's psychologically affecting. That's the reason why. So I guess.
Well, I might have a big nose that's causing me psychological pain too, but that doesn't mean the insurance company is going to say, yeah, okay. Yeah, we're going to grant you that.
So this is a very hot topic.
But how about the psychological pain that he caused the family of the baby that he killed?
Right.
I mean,
exactly.
Come on. I mean, no. I mean, you start. I mean, we got it. We have to treat prisoners humanely, to an extent. But giving them that, no, you lost your right to all that other crap.
I mean, if you do the crime, you have to do the time.
Right.
Yeah,
is he using this as a defense? Is he saying that, or he's already been convicted, right?
No, he's convicted. He's done. It's
Okay,
game
so
over.
so it's not like he's trying to play that to like that's why I did what I did, because my mind is.
No.
Is he going
No.
to try and appeal this because that's why? I mean,
I wouldn't put it past him if he's getting this already from a judge in Indiana.
Right.
Why wouldn't he just double down at this point and say, "Oh, by the way, I was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs when I murdered that baby. That's because of my psychological, I don't know, warfare that was going on in my head." I mean, if I was him, I would. If they're going to allow him to do this,
yeah.
I mean, he's playing the long game on this one. I don't know. All right, let's move on. I think we all can agree on that one. That's shocking. Name a comedy movie or show that would not be appreciated today as they were back in the day. I'm going to throw out Blazing Saddles because I've been beaten already. Okay. But I will throw out a couple more that you might not think. I know for a fact I was at the movies watching, Gran Torino with my wife when it came out, 5, 7, 10 years ago. And I was laughing out loud, like hard, like Rubio style laughing. And my wife looks at me and goes, "Hey, ass, this is not a comedy." And I go, "It isn't?" Because I was rolling. Okay, so I'll give you those two. And then I'm going to give you a television show, 2 TV shows that I've been recently watching where they were just so male chauvinistic and not going back to like the 50s like they did with what's the Mad Men, but Porky's Animal House, Hector Nicodemus. Yeah, the Filipino Greek is back. I love that. But I was watching The Love Boat, and holy hell, is it so sexist? Doc is just picking up on chicks left and right, and they're just talking about everyone cooking up, and he's just grabbing asses, and it's amazing. And then also Cheers, like late 70s, early 80s. Holy hell, Carla's pregnant through 9 seasons of it, and she's getting hammered every season, and she's drinking beers, throwing down heaters, Marlboro Reds, and I'm like, what's going on? And it's just, but I guess that's was the early 80s, and they did what they did. Scarano, what's your take? You got any movies or TV shows?
God.
You guys can raise your hand as well.
The one that comes to mind the most for me would probably be All in the Family with Archie Bunker. He was so politically incorrect, but at the time thinking differently. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to think what else. The Jeffersons was kind of a play off of that.
That was a spin-off.
Yeah.
Right.
Movie, you might have to get back to me on the movie.
Well, this reminds me, Terry, I think I sent you the meme or you sent me the meme where it said 80s kids are just built different. We were in 5th grade, watched the Challenger explode and had to go back to school in literally 2 minutes to start work again.
I watched the Challenge explode in high school when we were sitting there watching it. It was the first time it was televised.
I was in 5th grade. I was literally in 5th grade when it happened. And I remember it went boom. And we had one crazy kid. And he just kind of was like, he started giggling. And everyone's like, dude, did that shuttle just explode? And it was kind of like, like 5-10 minutes of doing that. And it was like, okay, open your math books. Like, okay, I guess we were just so jaded. TC, what's your thoughts on the movie show?
Well, Blazing Saddles was the first thing that came to mind for me. Also, Airplane. Think about that.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, and I didn't think about TV shows, but for some reason I'm thinking Three's Company.
Oh,
there
yeah.
was that. There was that. And let's look at MASH. I mean, they were hooking up. They had the still. There was a lot of innuendos there.
And wasn't it Klinger? It was Klinger on MASH who tried to be.
He was trying to get the Section 8.
Yeah,
Jamie Farr.
Okay.
There you go. Not much different than that guy in prison, right? He tried to get out of the army.
Well, I would say, I cannot think about any movies, but I would say TV shows, for example, Mike and Molly, they make fun of his overweight body, all this show, like she makes fun of him, his friends make fun of him, it's kind of, I don't think that show would have been made today.
Okay, I got you. Sub 60.
What do you mean? Hold on, I gotta. Mike and Molly, Rubio does that to me every show we come on every week on Tuesday. I mean, so what's the difference?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so we still do. We're still doing that today.
But I'm me.
You know what? The square's not getting too. The square that you're in right now is getting too small for your large, thick skull.
It's first of all, it's a rectangle. Obviously, someone didn't pass geometry.
I got another one, Rubio.
He wasn't in my class.
Didn't you go to a private school, sub 60?
Oh, where'd he go?
Oh,
I guess I'm taking over now. Okay, so back to where I was. All right, my show, my movie was Young Frankenstein. Young Frankenstein would be a good one, and Stripes would be very.
Stripes.
Stripes would be a very good one.
Boom shaka.
Are you ready to come out of the corner, Mr.
Oh.
Rubio? Are you ready to come out of the corner?
Hey, I was thinking of another one. Let's think about this. What about Hollywood Squares?
Oh, yeah.
And what was the one with Richard Dawson? Match Game. Remember
Whoa.
where they had?
Yeah, who was it? Oh, was it? No. The main guy on
Gene Rayburn. Gene Rayburn. You're thinking of Paul Lynn. Paul Lynn.
The other guy that had the huge glasses. They were like square. You said this name, I would.
Yeah.
Damn it! It's a weird name. Sir Charles Riley or Nelson Riley?
Charles Nelson Riley.
Charles Nelson Riley.
Charles Nelson Riley.
Yeah, he would have some great lines. All right. Speaking of
your original question.
Don't forget the toy.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
the toy
with Richard Pryor.
Oh, Richard Pryor. How about any of Richard Pryor's movies?
Or almost any Monty Python's.
Charles Nelson Riley, the Greek Filipino got it.
Yeah.
Charles Nelson. Yeah. Okay. All right. Speaking of education,
the Soul Man.
Soul Man as well. That was with C. Thomas Howell.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
How the hell am I remembering this? Jesus.
I don't know.
Yes.
I must have watched a lot of 80s movies. Good God. Okay, let's move on to national education curriculum. Should there be some kind of standardization? Just yesterday, I think El Trumpo said he wants to eliminate the Department of Education. Thoughts on that? Gru, you got 2 kids in college, I think. What are your thoughts on that? Should there be some kind of standardization? And what about eliminating the Department of Education?
Both of my kids are out of college, but I think government should not be involved on a federal level on what is taught in schools. Okay, it should be left to states and maybe even cities and counties to decide what it's taught, because different states have different things. You know, some are liberal, some are more conservative. You know, it should not be up to some bureaucrat in DC telling like Texas not to teach about guns, for example, or California not to do this, or Florida not to do that.
I like that. Gru? Not Gru. Crazy Man. I was looking at Crazy Man.
I think there should be a standard in some aspects because, I mean, colleges aren't just going to take anybody nowadays. I mean, unless you can afford college. But, I mean, you need to have, we're the United States. I mean, we need to lead this world. But we are falling behind because of, unfortunately, the left on how they are taking away the standards of what we should be teaching and how kids should be learning. And hopefully having no cell phones in classrooms will be a good set in some states that are now where it's less distraction and worrying about social media and all that. But yeah, I think we should have some type of standard across the board.
Okay, Scarano, you being the only educator, I was a former educator.
No, crazy man.
What do you mean crazy man?
I just said that. Substance. You don't have to come in, Scarano.
Do I need to put you in the corner? Do I need to put you in the corner again because you made a mistake? Do I have to do that again?
The size of the sheets, I'm not sure you know where the corner is.
Do I have to? It doesn't matter. I have the control.
Scarano, I'm sorry for 60 interrupting you. Go ahead.
You're all right, Rubio. You can obviously see that Ed has missed you dearly with the episode not having you on last week. He didn't know who to lash out at. Man, we aren't falling behind. We have fell so far behind it's not even funny. And I see examples every day of the government thinking they know what's best in education. And some of their intentions are good, but their practices don't always follow through because they're not in the trenches and they don't understand how to, employ some of these standards. So I don't know if I'm really answering the question, but I kind of agree with Gru where I think it should be more of a state's decision. And I think the standards should almost be stripped down to getting back to basics on behavior and how to act, because if you don't have that in line, you're not going to be learning very much at all. And from what I'm seeing, it's not good right now. I mean,
yeah, but Jim, you have to also remember that behavior starts at home. Manners cost
I understand
nothing.
that.
And
I understand
being in
that.
the classroom each and every day and having a kid go tell you off, and it takes a lot for me to keep a happy face. And some of my students in the past knows if I took a step out in the hallway to catch my breath, they knew they crossed the line.
Right. But I think our institutions have lowered our expectations so greatly to come down to society and parental expectations that it's problematic. That's my opinion, whether you agree or disagree. I'm just telling you what I see. And I'm in one tiny little district, but I know a lot of people in surrounding districts, surrounding schools, and it's not all that much different from town to town, at least where I live.
Okay, so what about the Department of Education? Here's some stats for you. Department of Education was established in 1979. Since then, the U.S. has dipped to 16th in science, 34th in math, 36th in literacy since its onslaught in 1979. Mm-hmm. You were arguing, okay, they need to do this, but then it starts with behavior at home. TC, you've been nodding all over the place. What do you got?
Well, I think it's laughable that the federal government, wants to run education when they can't even run themselves. So why don't they figure themselves out first? And I don't want some bureaucrat. Well, all my kids are, but I don't want some bureaucrat in some left state deciding what my children or my grandchildren now are going to learn or what they should learn. I think it was back in the mid 60s or late 60s that there was an act that came up that said that there would be no federal standard for education. It was left up to the states. That's constitutional, that the states have governance over such things. So I'm dead against that. There's no way that the federal government should be involved in saying what children should have to learn. That's up to the states and up to the parents, in my mind.
Yeah, I'm almost to the point where I think when you look at it, I live in a small town, so I know all the board members and the principals, the superintendents, all the teachers. So I'm very in tune with what's going on with my 13-year-old, so I can see exactly what's happening at all times. Not to mention I live 1,000 yards from the middle school, and 2,000 yards from the high school, so I can.
And that's about your whole town, right?
No, it's not about 30,000.
The one stoplight, the one cafe, and so on, right?
Don't downgrade the cafe. Those waffles are hitting.
No, it's bigger than you think. But it's one of those things that I almost think the school system is broken. I was listening to someone talk about how you've got so many people, especially since the Rona, have gone to homeschooling, and they can crank out the entire curriculum in like 2.5 hours a day. And now, if you're doing that in 2.5 hours a day and your kid is getting smarter and doing all this stuff, and say he is getting socialized and all that stuff, because I do think homeschooling now is way different than homeschooling was in the 70s and 80s. What are they doing for the other 5 hours? Like that's one of those things that you got to answer. And the whole antiquated, okay, it's going to start at 9 in the morning or 8 o'clock in the morning, over by 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You've got 55-minute periods, or you're doing 2-hour blocks and things like that. I think the whole thing needs to be just revamped and figure it out. Like, you got schools like the IMG Academy, where it's basically like a college, and they have like early morning yoga. That's their class. And then they go to like social media training. Then they have breakfast. Then they go to basically therapy, which stretching therapy, not mind therapy. And then they go to, maybe the kid's interested in math, then they do math class, where it almost builds like that instead of just, 9 in the morning till 3:30. Hey, let's do that. I don't know. Maybe I'm talking wrong here. Sub 60?
I agree with what everybody's saying in the sense that I think it should be left to the states. However, to your point, where the country as a whole numbers have dipped since the Board of Education, the Department of Education's come into play. We got to figure out somehow to collectively get the numbers up. I don't think it's a national education per se, but I think there has to be. I mean, our numbers are falling as you stated. I mean,
well, you looked at out in Seattle, Washington, where they have basically said that it doesn't matter where the kids are reading at; they could be reading at an 8th grade level, but you can still graduate. There's really no standards for some of those. I mean, these kids need to be able to survive, and unfortunately, we're not doing it for them right now.
Well, and I think it goes back to, I can't remember if it was you, Crazy Man, or Scarrato that said it starts at home. If you're raised by animals, you're going to become an animal. If you're raised by no one, you're going to become no one. You know, and I'm not saying that you have to have a mother and a father at home to raise you. I mean, I was raised by a single mom, and I obviously turned out fantastic. TC, I know you were as well. So it's one of the
what you were turned out what? My earbud died. My earbud died a second.
Don't you mean your hearing aid?
Yeah, hearing aid, fantastic. But it's one of those things that I know for myself. I don't want to say a community, but I had my aunts, my uncles, my grandparents, you know, my cousins. They all did a job in raising me. Not let alone my sports coaches. So it's one of those things that someone's got to.
You had a strong family unit. You had a strong family unit.
Yeah, and I'm saying you got all these people that are raised, and this actually gets us to our next topic. I'll just go right into it. Should parents be held liable for their kids' actions? Because there was just this case in Michigan where this lady, this mom, I think the last name's Crumbley, if I read it correctly, took her kid shooting. And then he went up and shot up a school. And then this recent one in Georgia where the dad was an ass, knew the kid was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and decided to buy him a rifle for Christmas, and the kid shot up the thing. And I understand, Hector says, our education system is broken. The Baltimore City spends $22K per student. None can meet math and reading standard. My kid's private school tuition is $9,000 a year, so much better. Yeah. I mean, it's obviously broken. It's a matter of who's going to fix it and what are they going to do and how much money is it going to cost, and does it really cost that much money? But
throwing money at it is not necessarily the answer. Like
the answer that. But it can be. It can be if you throw your money in the right direction. All right, we're not throwing it towards new books. We're throwing it into parental classes on how not to be an ass. All right, and the parents.
I'm not for that. I'm not for that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, the money is good once it is spent the right way. If you're just blowing
lower class sizes are statistically proven to help.
Well, yeah,
lowering class sizes.
I mean,
but I'm guessing there's a ton of waste. There's a ton of waste. I mean, I see waste at our level, let alone at a national level, like you said, getting rid of the Department of Ed. I mean, God knows what kinds of monies they're spending, and I don't see the output. I don't see the bang for the buck, so to speak. You know what I mean? But inevitably it all starts at home, like you said. Like you made that comment about.
I make it about everything.
About homeschooling. Homeschooling is so much better now than it was. I don't know what you mean by that, because I've had literally a parent write on a cocktail napkin that they're going to homeschool their child, bring it into the office, boom, they're off our records. We don't know what's going on. You don't need a curriculum. You don't need anything. You don't have to prove anything, And literally I go to Wawa every afternoon and I see the kid, causing havoc at Wawa later that day. I'm like, what's going on here?
But the Crazy Man just said in Washington, and I said in Oregon, because I know it's the same way, they don't have to prove anything either. So this kid is sitting there being a disruption all day. He can't read. He can't even create a thought, and he's going to graduate. So what is that? How is that even better?
So what's your solution to not having him graduate?
Why would he need to graduate? And when you homeschool, you can take the GED. You can graduate very easily.
Right.
So what?
So if that kid gets pushed through or denied a diploma, what's going to be the difference?
Which kid? The homeschool kid?
Aren't we doing that now, Jim? We're doing that now.
Yeah. Exactly.
We are doing that now. I've taught in all 3 levels, and they're
Right.
pushing the kids through. And
Exactly.
unfortunately,
Because it
we're
comes
not
down to
helping
money.
them.
They're not going to hold kids back because it's going to cost too much money.
Yeah.
So
Crazy man, you heard it. Go ahead,
for
TC.
those
Go
of
ahead,
you,
Cosme.
for those of you who are in the 50s, like me, I remember being in school and not like, I mean, I wasn't the smartest tool in the shed, but I remember not knowing if I was going to go from 2nd to 3rd grade. Remember,
Right.
there were kids back in the day that got held back,
Yes.
Yes.
and
That's
and
now
now
they won't.
they don't.
No, that's lowering their self-esteem.
Right.
They were fewer. Well, the other thing, they were fewer and far between. Okay. Now, if we held them to the same standard that we grew up in, you'd have half your 2nd grade staying behind. I'm
Well,
telling
and
you,
So we've lowered our standards. Is that what has happened?
not
I think
only
a
have
lot
we
of
lowered our standards, but we keep lowering them more and more based on
Trying to get everybody in.
what we're given to work with. What we're given to work with.
Yeah, but we've lowered our
Wait,
standards.
what do you
As
mean?
a
What do you
teacher,
mean,
they're
Tim? What-
giving us more pressure to pass them.
I've always told people, when they ask how's school, what's going on in school, blah, blah, blah. I said, school is a microcosm of society. Any societal problems are going to be reflected in schools, and bad parenting is going to be more relevant than any other statistic. I mean, you get kids, it's terrible to say that all of them are like that. They're not all like
Right.
that.
No.
But the percentages have gone up so much. Crazy man, you see it yourself. And I'm not talking about necessarily your class, but in your
No.
gen ed classes, kids, first of all,
Entitlement.
number one, they don't know how to pay attention. I'm telling you, they do not know how to pay attention. Their verbal comprehension, like we grew up, we knew how to listen. We knew how to listen to our adults. We knew how to respect our adults. We knew how to follow directions. Like it's almost like you have to start training all over again when you get a kindergartner or when you get a preschooler. And it's not everybody, but it's a large majority. So
I mean,
to say, by eighth grade, they need to solve this equation or whatever, it's so much more difficult to get there because you don't have that foundation that was given to you when we started. When we started, here you go. Well, a lot of us didn't even go to preschool. We started in kindergarten, right? I don't know. That's the way it was where I grew up. You know what I mean? A lot of stay-at-home moms, a lot of less broken families. I mean, these are just some of the components that are gonna feed into it.
And back in the day, you'd also get your ass beat.
Yeah.
There you go.
Principal,
Yeah, because you got
remember
spanked.
your parents had to sign the
school.
form.
Yeah, I remember in my elementary school, the principal, he was Mr. Bundy. He was a huge dude. He was probably 6'2", but he looked massive. He literally had a paddle behind his desk
with holes in
Yeah.
it.
with holes in it, like Dazed and Confused. And you knew you messed up, your ass was getting swatted. And I'm not even just talking about the principal. I'm talking about at home. You knew you messed up. There's no consequences anymore. So no kidding that kids act like animals. We're going to come back to this topic, but we're going to take a real quick commercial break, and then we'll come right back to jump onto this one. Go ahead, Sub60.
This tech tip is on how to use Public Data Check Review. Public Data Check is a data broker that posts personal information online. To find out what information Public Data Check has about you, number one, go to publicdatacheck.com and search for your listing. Number two, check on your name and fill out the information. Number three, they will use your email information to sell ads to their database and send you email. To avoid this, I recommend using a disposable email address like a mask email from Blur. To opt out of Public Data Check. Number four, once they have sent you your report, send them an email with the information that they had, such as your name, address, and age, and request that the information be removed from their website. Do not send information that they do not have already, and if the information they have is incorrect, use it anyway. Number five, after this, it is unclear how long it will take them to remove your information from their
side. Be patient and persistent. This tip for a great show called Decade is brought to you by Alex and Tech.
Gru, were you wearing makeup in that commercial?
No, I never do.
Are you sure? Because your skin looked really smooth.
He goes, I never do.
I'm telling you, Sub 60, you need to play that commercial again later. Look under Gru's eyes. I'm telling you, he put some
All right.
moisturizer or something. I don't know.
He's probably
Yes,
got.
man.
He's probably got an evening and a morning routine that he
And I
goes
think
through.
you whiten your teeth, Rubio.
I brush my teeth nonstop 8 times a day, and it's the contrast of darkness. And plus, I've got 2 big lights right here, so it's shining on me.
I don't know. I think you're whitening. You got white
All right,
teeth,
let's
man.
go back to Scarano. Scarano was saying we need to do a better job of training them, which goes back to should parents be liable for kids' actions? And there's part of me that says, oh, okay, yeah, you bought this kid a gun, you knew he was a whack job, and he goes up and shoots at school, you should be liable. But then part of me says, okay, so does every parent in Chicago, where the kids are acting like animals literally every single weekend, where there's 55 people shot and 15 people killed, should we hold them accountable as well? Every gang, shooting, is they reliable? Things like that. Crazy Man and Sub 60.
Well, I think a parent should be liable on, especially as if they know that their kids are off hinged. But if you also look in Maryland, one of the laws that they have is anything, a child anything 12 or under can't be tried because they don't know what they're doing. So they basically walk away free. And so what's that saying? Sending a message to some of these gang members like MS-13, Latino Kings, going bringing these young kids in to indoctrinate them. Now it's almost like a free, hey, get out of free jail card.
Is that same rule right now in Maryland apply right now? With 12 and under, they can't be held liable?
Right now, it is for murder. Yeah.
Okay.
They are changing the law, though.
I'd be very
Not
interested to
still.
see what their transgender law is for 12 and under. Because if they're not smart enough to be held liable for murder, but they're smart enough to cut off something, I'd be very interested to see that. Go ahead, Sub 60.
No, hold them accountable, because if you start sending them, hold the parents accountable, because if you start sending them, the parents, because I think sometimes the parents get into parenthood and not think of the responsibilities that they have to set the standard for what their kids need to do. And yes, you can lead a strict household without being physical, maybe, or so on, but you have to be able to set boundaries. And until the family unit, and I think the show has said it once, it's said it 100 times, the family unit is key. And if the parents don't know what the hell the kids are doing, whether they're, from giving a kid a gun who shouldn't have a gun to, a gangbanger, they need to be held accountable. Especially if the 12-year-old, especially in those states where the 12-year-old's not, where the 12-year-old's not, doesn't know what he's doing or whatever, which is crazy.
So for all the shootings in these big cities that are happening weekly, I'll get to you right now.
Bring them all in. Bring all the parents in too.
Okay, TC.
Couple things. Again, going back to my youth, there were many nights where my mom didn't know what I was doing. How many of you guys, after a football game on Friday night, went out and did stuff your parents had no idea what you were doing? I believe it's the Fifth Amendment that protects parents from doing that, because the innocent cannot be charged for crimes that the guilty did. I mean, I understand, and I agree with everybody that the parents should have some responsibility, but to charge an innocent person for something that they did not do is against every fundamental freedom that we have in America.
Not if you say, I would argue the point, Terry, on that, where if I'm the parent and I'm responsible, I am the responsible party for that minor until they turn 18. I'm responsible for his or her actions. If she goes and shoots somebody, she drives drunk, he drives drunk, I can potentially be held liable for that.
Fifth Amendment would say otherwise, Ed.
No, actually, the Fifth Amendment is incriminate. You can't incriminate yourself. I don't know.
There's more to it.
Is that okay? It's just interesting that nobody's brought the Fifth Amendment into play with these parents that have been held so far, at least. I didn't know that.
No.
By the way,
So if you buy your 12-year-old a gun, I agree. You're a moron. A. B. Now I think that you should have some responsibility in that. That's different. We're talking about children. Now, an adult child. Now, if Damon goes out and does something stupid, breaks a window, right? You're gonna tan his hide. He's gonna probably work to pay for the window, but you're gonna make sure it happens.
Well, 100%. But I would push back on your theory because you said if you buy your 12-year-old a gun, I know probably 100 kids under 12 where I live that have shotguns and rifles to go hunting.
Different story.
Okay, so they can buy a hunting rifle.
No. If you know that your kid is unhinged. You just go here. And there's no kind of training. There's no, I mean, obviously I'm kind of in that firearms training realm, but to just give a kid a gun with no training, nothing, I mean, just let it rain. I think there's a different story there.
Yeah. And speaking of guns and training, we're going to move on here. All right. So I think it was
Wait a minute. I didn't even get to comment on it.
Oh, Scarano, you're on the camera, so I can't always see you. I can't move this thing up. Or go ahead, Scarano.
It's the glare off his head.
Yeah.
Put him in the corner, Ed.
Yeah, I got put in the corner now.
Put some hair on Jim.
I agree. I'll put it. How about that? That's good.
That's a horrible color.
Yeah, there is first of all, I don't even know how you can answer that question because there is so much gray area there. There are so many different scenarios you could pose. Like, I mean, I don't know how you could possibly. So, Ed, your 17-year-old kid who's really made good decisions their whole life, and they make a mistake and do something, God help us, that's tragic or whatever. You're going down with them.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I've seen good parents. I've seen good parents who, sometimes you can lose your kid, especially in the teenage years. They have free will. They unfortunately start abusing drugs and maybe get hooked on drugs and then commit a crime.
But
I don't know how you could possibly. And what do? You throwing all these people in jail too?
But we
got room for them there. We got plenty of room in jails for.
But here's my issue though. We sit here and say the family's the problem, the family unit's the problem. But then right now, when we're trying to hold the parents accountable to make a stronger family unit, we're saying no, can't do that.
Okay, but
that's my struggle with this argument right now.
But you're gonna fix the family unit with punitive damages. Like that's where you're gonna go to fix.
Maybe they'll pay more attention to their kids, Jim.
Well, that's the point. They missed that window. You can't train a dog after it's a puppy. Okay. It's got to be one of those things where you have to train that dog not to piss and shit in the house day one. Well, if you wait too long, that dog's going to piss and shit everywhere. And it's not, trying to teach a kid responsibility and lessons at 12, very, very tricky. If you didn't start at 4, 3, 2, all that. But then,
so you just give up?
No, I didn't say you give up.
No, I'm saying that was the question.
What I'm saying here, okay, sub 16. Here's the scenario: you have a son. He's got a girlfriend. Some guy comes over, tries to hit on his girlfriend. Your son doesn't like it. He's being rude. He's being condescending to this girl. He's being just crass, we'll say. He kind of pushes your son, blah, blah, blah. Your son punches this kid. He falls back, hits his head, dies on a bench. So now you're in jail because your kid punched a guy that was being an ass to his girlfriend, and he's a great kid. Just this other kid came in and was rude to him and rude to his girlfriend and started shoving him. Yeah. Your kid just accidentally punches him. The guy trips over a bench, hits his head, boom, game over, dead. So you should go to jail for that, even though your kid's fantastic and just as one tiny moment. I think that's what Scarano's trying to say.
Right, but sometimes the worst actions are in a knee-jerk Sometimes people have knee-jerk reactions that end in catastrophic results.
Yeah, Thank you. You just described what I just told you.
Right. What I'm saying is exactly. So, and there's catastrophic consequences for that knee-jerk reaction. And that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying I don't think there's a right answer or a wrong answer, but I think there's to try to. So then, so in these cases, what is the answer to the kid who? So to the kid, and this is more. I think we have to look at it in levels of degrees of activity. If the kid punches him without an intent to kill, that's one thing. The kid would, but if the kid goes into is given a gun, a kid's given a gun, goes into the school, shoots up said school and kills a whole bunch of people, and was given a gun by the parent, then I think that has to be something different.
But then
I think
okay, say I'm your son. I'm 6'2", 230 pounds. The guy that comes up to me is 5'5", 130 pounds. And he's an ass. He's a giant ass. And he keeps saying stuff. He's rude. And boom, I punch him. And then they can say, oh, his hand's a lethal weapon because he's so large. So then what? I didn't have intent to.
I know it's
too much subjectivity. If that's
yeah.
a word.
I mean, it's a tough. I mean, it's a tough one. That's why I said I think there are degrees.
Okay, so let's move on because this one just came out. And
did you see check my message that I just sent
you? Give AC and Guy on IG. What is that?
They're on Instagram. They're on Instagram. Give them a shout out.
Okay.
AC and Guy are watching on Instagram.
Well, use your words, Sub 60. Jesus. Okay.
He just read what he wrote to you.
I know. I didn't.
Sports Live tonight at 9, followed by The Ride with Chevy and Nasty. They're on at 10 p.m. This is Pacific times. And then also we've got Guy. He's got a fantastic show called Tripping Through Transformation. Last week's guest he had was outstanding. Gorgeous, fantastic. Hector Nicodemus says, arguing that parents should be liable for their kids' criminal actions, the same who argue that the parents should not be informed that their kid identifies as transgender.
No, I think my Greek friend, I think the parents should always be informed. No matter.
Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. I mean, I've worked in both middle school and high school, and we couldn't say anything to parents because the fear will anything happen to the child is more. Unfortunately, the students have more rights than the parents at this point.
Hector also says or argues that a kid under 18 can have an abortion without parental consent. It's a surgical procedure or have transgender hormone treatment. The Filipino Greek is coming in very hot tonight. Very hot.
He's kind of a smart guy.
Yeah, I can see that. We got to get him on the panel.
I just texted him that he's got to be on.
So 10 days ago, El Trumpo almost assassinated for the second time in 55 days. Just yesterday, or I think it was Monday. What is today? Today's Tuesday. Oh, so it was yesterday. They released the Assassins Manifesto that put a $150,000 bounty on Trump's head. All right. Wow. Now you're thinking, well, they do this all the time. The FBI didn't release the Nashville trans shooter manifesto because they said, quote, they didn't want to inspire more violence. So was this done on purpose? TC?
What? Say, can you repeat that? I'm not following the question. I'm not following what you're saying.
I'll read it to you. Why did the Biden administration release the Assassins Manifesto? And in the manifesto, I don't know if you saw it, he has in there $150,000 to anyone that fulfills killing Trump. Okay, so they put this out there. It's all right there. And all the talking points that he's a threat to society, he's a threat to democracy, he's the next Hitler, everything is written in there. So all the Democratic buzzwords that you hear over and over and over, the dude's got them handwritten in his thing. Now they put this out. It's public knowledge. And since they've done it, the Department of Justice said, oh, that was a mistake. We shouldn't have put it out. Why did they put that one out? But the trans shooter in Nashville 2 years ago, they had a full composition book. They never released that. Never once released it. And then someone got a hold of it and it said, I hate white, male, Christian, blah, blah, blah. And they said they didn't release the trans one because they didn't want to incite more violence. So wouldn't releasing El Trumpo's, this one, release more violence? Produce more violence, especially when imagine you're a whack job and you're looking at that and going, Wait a second. This guy's offering $150K if I kill El Trumpo.
So actually, who's offering the money?
The would-be assassin is
Okay, all right.
The golf course
what
guy.
we're saying.
All right. The golf course guy.
$150,000. So my question is, why did they just happen to release this manifesto but not the other one? It seems like a very odd coincidence. Call me crazy.
You're crazy.
TC?
You're crazy.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's any coincidence at all. Let's be honest about it. I mean, it fits their narrative. They're going to let it leak out. We didn't mean to let it leak out, but it just happened to. They would never do something like that. No, I think you're crazy, Rubio.
I can taste the irony.
Yeah.
Crazy man.
How's the who's going to get payment? How is he going to pay them if he's behind bars? I mean, I do believe it is playing to one-sided right now.
I think the payment is irrelevant.
Yeah, it's not
just
about
like how
the money.
just like the next with the debate, how the debate was one-sided, and it's going to come up with they're going to do another debate, and it's going to be the same scenario. Fact checking one side versus the other.
Well, they're not going to do another debate because he wants it on Fox or just an independent like Joe Rogan, and
I must have missed that.
She wants it on CNN or MSNBC again, and they're both. It's a pissing match right now. Scarano, is this?
It's always a pissing match. It's always a pissing match.
Scarano,
is it a coincidence?
Yeah.
I have no idea. I mean, I like. Whatever. I don't pay attention because it's out of my control and it just frustrates me and gets me upset anyway. So you always bring it to my attention the things I should get upset about. And it's like,
well, I'm not saying you should get upset about it, but if I was El Trump, I'd be like, okay, you're offering
it's just out of my control. I don't.
You publicize it.
I do. It's all.
Is it out of your control? Because I would say yes, it is out of your control. But what now that you know, I think
my vote.
What
right.
is your
He
vote?
wants you to be mad, Jim.
I know.
What's in your control also is letting other people know, like, hey, you don't find this a little odd?
Spread the word. I got
it. The transgender shooter, they hid that one for 2 years because it was going to incite more violence. But this one, 8 days later, they publicized it.
But Rubio, there's so many people that are so far left that it doesn't matter. You can try to convince them all you want. You're not going to sway them. You're not going to sway them. So, and I'm not going to waste my energy trying to. So
I agree with you 1,000%. That you're going to have people that are never Trumpers, never Kamala. I got it. I would say those people that are far left or far right, you don't have to talk to them. I'm saying talk to the person that's kind of in the middle. The person that's kind of
okay, well, Ed's in the middle. Ed's in the middle, and he wants to say something. Go ahead, Ed.
No, he's not.
Middleman.
Yeah. Oh,
yes,
yeah.
You didn't watch last show, I guess.
Yeah. I'm more middle than I. Yeah. No, I actually like to go after Trumpo just because it annoys the hell out of you. My comment is, I'm going to toss another thing of ring into the circle. Whatever happened to the first assassination attempt, he kind of fell off the face of the earth. We don't know enough. They can't find anything on him. And first of all, back to your original question. If anybody does any of this shit, it should be out. No, but they don't have any motive. They don't have any manifesto. They can't find out why he would have even done it.
Well, that's why they shot him in the head. He was obviously a patsy. I mean,
right. So my whole point is that like another Lee Harvey Oswald that we got CIA guys going after Trump?
Well, we'll use Terry Crosby.
Hold on. Let me get back to my thing is, I think, right, 8 days letting this one manifesto go in 2 years, unacceptable. It all has to come out at one time. Doesn't matter. Bipartisanship needs to come out. When you find out some shit, you got to let it out so people can digest it. If you don't, you have conversations like this.
Okay. Well, okay. Let me go to Terry Crosby. Terry Crosby, you've got firearms training. You're a fireman. We'll say you're closest to a policeman here. We'll go back to the original assassination attempt. You're watching a guy who kind of looks sketchy walk around with a ladder, on a bike. He's got a backpack. He's got something sticking out of his backpack. And then you see him with a scope where he's a rangefinder. I mean, And then you see him on the roof where people are still like, hey, there's a dude on the roof. There's a dude on the roof. There's a dude on the roof. Like, how many signs did you need before that guy should have been brought to a holding area?
He should have never got off the ground.
Yeah.
Hey, and I was talking with Rubio and Abraham about this when it first happened. I went to the national championship game in Atlanta a bunch of years back when Trump was there, and we were in the courtyard 6 hours pre-gaming before the game even started. Every single roof, I've got pictures on my phone of snipers on every single roof 6 hours before the game. How did this idiot get? I mean, he was within, what was it, 167 yards?
Yeah.
160, 180 yards.
How did he? How was that rooftop left unchecked? How did he get up there? Oh, it was too sloped. That roof wasn't sloped. Give me a freaking break. Come on. There was so much incompetence in that. It was either completely incompetent or completely inside. One of the two.
Yeah. That's it. Sub 60, we're going to wrap it up on this. Tell me who is the best. I'm going to let you pick the Greek Filipino if you need to.
You know what? No, I like. You know what? I'm not going to pick it has to be somebody on the show. If if the Greek Filipino wants to get panelists of the show, he has to come on. It's got to be Crosby, because he brought a lot of good insights. You brought the Fifth Amendment detail that I had now, like learning new stuff. That was very good. So thank you very much. You're always welcome.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah.
We had the question about what movies and TV shows wouldn't go anymore. Wasn't there something about which comedians wouldn't play today?
Oh,
yeah. We could add that.
Can everyone throw one out real quick?
All of
what was it?
George Carlin. George Carlin.
Richard Pryor, Andrew Dice Clay, Eddie Murphy.
Bob Hope.
Who was the dude that yelled?
No, Don Rickles. Actually, Don Rickles.
Don Rickles. No, you're thinking Sam Kinison.
Sam Kinison.
Sam
You know who else? When I say it, you're going to go, no, Bob Saget.
Oh, no, I've heard.
Filthy.
Yeah, he's dirty. Like, he's so dirty.
Don't forget Ralphie May. Ralphie May.
I never thought he was funny. I never thought that.
How about this one? Steve Martin. Steve Martin could be, but I agree with Dangerfield wouldn't play, not because he's filthy, but because he's so politically incorrect.
Yeah.
He was great. I love Dangerfield.
On that note,
who's your favorite female comedian? Because there was very few and far.
Amy Schumer.
Amy Schumer's funny.
Amy.
I'm kidding.
I was a big Carol Burnett fan.
Yeah.
I liked Carol Burnett.
On that note, if anyone would like to be on the show, you can email decadesshow24@gmail.com, decadesshow24@gmail.com, or if you know someone that you think, damn, they'd be really good on that show, let us know. We'll do a little vetting of them, so to speak, and get them on here. I want to thank the panelists, Sub 60 Ed, Crazy Man, Scarano, TC, and Gru. And for myself, we're out of here.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.